So, in this episode of 5 Minutes for Men, I want to talk about um, DIY and how much DIY do you do, right? And that goes for your car, your house, your apartment, any recreational things you have, changing out spark plugs, like all of that, right? How much DIY is too much DIY, and how much DIY is like just enough, right? So we all have to understand um, our skill set. One of my buddies is gifted in terms of being able to modify his own house and craft doors and do all these kinds of awesome projects with his own hands, with his own skill set. And then me, on the other hand, I do just enough to not mess something up, right? Like, so if we have like what can I think of? Something minimal, right? Like I know how to change oil, but I probably still go to an oil changer. Like there's things I know how to do with my car. Like I can change my own tire, but I have AAA. It's stuff like that, right? So I do it just the whatever, like the to get by. Like I feel like I do just enough man stuff in terms of do it yourself. And I want to get better at some of the do it yourself stuff, but I also want things to be done right the first time. So it's hard to do a lot of DIY stuff unless it's something. So I will say this: I bought a electric skateboard and I changed some ball bearings and changed the tires on it. The battery got funny, and one of the motors got funny. It had two motors. Took one of those motors off and made it to where it can use one motor. So that was small do-it-yourself. Like I could have took it to a shop and had it worked on. I have a bike, not a motorcycle, that I've changed some tires on and done some other stuff too. But that's as far as it goes. The buddy that I was talking about earlier has like remodeled rooms and stuff like that. So there's levels, right? There's levels to everything. I'm definitely interested in if you guys have comments about, as far as what your skill set is, did you learn those skills for your DIY stuff from a relative or co-worker or something like that? Or like, are you doing DIY stuff where you're just doing a YouTube and you're watching YouTube and you're tubing through it and that's helping you do it? I'm very interested in that. Like for me, I know what my skill set is, and if it's IT, I may do more things that are do-it-yourself in terms of IT versus what I would do in terms of like sawing and carpentry and things like that. I don't really mess around with electrical too much. I know how to turn the power off before I start to do anything, but I'm not running any wires or anything like that. But I am interested in, if you have built your skill set up from where I am now to a higher level of like my buddy being able to remodel rooms and things like that on his own and craft, using his carpentry skills to craft doors and barn doors for his house and things like that. It's another level, right? If you were able to build your skill set up from where I am now to that level, how did you go about that? I'm very interested in understanding how you went about that. And as men, right? Like you want to be able to change a tire, right? Like we should all be as men be able to change a tire. And that's I want to make sure that when we have our 5 minutes for men, like these are things that relate to, like all men should be able to at least bare minimal do this thing, right? So like change your tires, like the bare minimal thing. I think I'm like 2 levels maybe up from changing the tires and doing other things around the house. That lessens what we have to go out and get and pay for in terms of what I can do myself. So I always look at a project and go, So yeah, let me know what your comments are about how you raised your own level up, and what are the biggest projects you ever did. What was the biggest DIY you ever did? I'm definitely interested in that. All right.